Okay, folks, we are live and welcome to Sunday Night Futures Live, where we have the NASDAQ 100 gapping lower here at current 1.11%. We're off the session lows. We're going to go over the whys behind, and it's quite obvious what's going on out there in the Middle East. But the question is, does this last? We'll do a little bit of research. I think that you're going to see an extraordinary amount of pressure on the NASDAQ stocks. We're going to go into why in a moment. Let's take a look at the E-minis. Before I do this, let's check on audio. Let's say hello to folks. Let's let things settle down. Yeah, you're not kidding. One of our weekend wars. The street knew it was coming. You don't amass that type of the firepower. My voice is going. We're only going to go to 6:30 tonight. I'm still recovering. You don't amass that kind of firepower if you don't intend on using it. Tim, welcome. Thank you, Tim. Appreciate that. Okay, so we have the E-minis down about 1% off of session lows. Let's go back to the NQ, see what's happening there. They're bouncing back some. So what we want to do is we want to know whether or not we break to new session lows. And I got to tell you, I spent a lot of time this weekend trying to understand what was going on over in the Middle East. And there's not a lot of objective journalism coming out of the Middle East. So we really don't know what's going on over there. You know, there's a lot of talk about the USS Abraham Lincoln having been attacked. That's been debunked as of right now. So God forbid, hopefully not. But we're seeing a reversal here on the NASDAQ. And the thing to remember here, the triple Qs, which the NQ is the same exact thing, except on the futures market. They tried to take the Qs down last week, and they managed to rally them back and to hold a weekly resistance level, now support, after having broken out the week prior to last on a weekly time frame. So that's significant. Now, I think I did better research than many of the analysts over the weekend. I'm going to tell you why I think the pressure remains on these names. About three names in particular that we'll go over. RTY, Russell down 1.24%. That's just off of session lows. Let's check in with the energy sector. Crude prices, oh boy. Crude is up about 8% at current off of the session highs. We went long of crude about 2 weeks ago. Not a huge position. I wanted to add more, but we're probably going to be selling it into tomorrow's gap up. Natural gas, we went long of last week. That's only up a little bit, though, 1.33%, which sounds like a lot, but for natural gas, you know, it's nothing really. We were measurably higher, and we are long of a leveraged product called BOIL, B-O-I-L. Moving on to gold. Got to check in with gold. Gold up 2.35%. The high, 5,399. I don't think that's a new high. It is not. 5626.8 is the all-time high. Let's check in with silver. Silver up 2.99%. Both of these names had very good weeks last week. The dollar. The dollar with a big gap up here 0.28%. We're off of session highs. Crypto, XRP. These caught a bid this morning, but they gave up their gains very, very early on. XRP down 0.70%. I do think that these are going to rally. I've been talking about this on the weekend commentary, which I sent out this morning. I usually send it out on Saturdays, but I wanted to absorb the data coming in from the Middle East. And they were rallying these, and they faded, but the weekly charts look very, very stable for XRP and Bitcoin. Bitcoin is actually up 0.41%. Is that a bullish reversal bar? A little mini one. What else do we need to go over? I want to bring back up crude. Let's set up an alert here. Okay, that's fine. Let's go check back in with the NQ. The reason why I'm so fixated on the NQ is that we are short of the Qs using a leveraged product, SQQQ. There's going to be resistance up here. All right. They're buying this dip. I'm looking at the sell percentage. I mean, clearly the bulls are taking advantage of this rally, but I think they're missing something. I do. And we have our alert down here. I want to see whether or not we take out session lows. I'm going to set up another alert here. And we'll set up an alert, see whether or not we break through resistance. All right. So I think that we covered it all pretty quickly here. Okay. Let's get to comments. Mr. Sean, welcome. George, welcome. Polish Taco, welcome. Lee Cable, welcome, my friend. Mr. Pete, welcome. Franklin, welcome, my friend. Okay. Let's get to it. Let's talk about what the hell's going on out there. You know, so we're going into a week where this is the headline off of Drudge. Khomeini killed, Iranians rejoice at the death of the devil. I guess that's a good thing. War Day 2, blast rocks Middle East. Tehran attacks Europe. What they're referencing there is an attack on Cyprus in particular. Britain, I believe it's a territory of Britain, and they have bases there. Israel, they are currently under attack right now. So don't think that this is over. It's still going on. This is the big one here. Sleeper cells fear in the United States. The other one is missiles fired at warship, and they're referencing the USS Abraham Lincoln. They also sunk a corvette, which is Iranian. So, you know, they're saying fired at warship. You know, that could be Iranian Iranian Navy as well as U.S. or British forces as well. So what the hell is this all about? I thought back in July, I believe it was July when we attacked their nuclear facilities that we were done. That crude just took out a support level. Let's see how much. Okay, it's just orderly pullback. I thought that we had taken out their nuclear facilities and that we didn't have to worry anymore. Apparently, that's not true. And I don't think this has anything to do with nuclear facilities. It has to do with the fact that the United States is in massive, massive debt. The Chinese account for more electricity demand than the United States and Europe combined. Think about it. So what this is about the BRIC nations undermining the U.S. dollar and Iran supplying at discounted prices oil to China. It's also about the encirclement of China. This is the long game. This has nothing to do with nuclear weapons. It has everything to do with who dominates for the next 75 years. And I'll tell you, I'm not how do you say? I'm not a scholar when it comes down to this type of stuff. But I do know that if we had to refill our stockpiles of missiles, it'll take 10 years to do that. That I do know. And that's scary when you hear that we're over in the Middle East after having shipped arms over to the Ukraine for all these years. And now we're popping off all these missiles over at Iran and we're depleting our supplies. And if I was China, I was saying, you know what, Taiwan's looking pretty good right now with all those forces over in the Middle East and the United States unable to replenish their stockpiles. So I worry about that quite a bit. So this is Iran now, and I've been on Twitter quite a bit over the weekend. I have been fact checking the accuracy. There's so many fakes out there; it's crazy. I only have a couple that are valid. I make sure through Grok. Grok, is this happening now? Validation. Yes. All right. So it is happening March 1, 2026. And these are the skies over Israel right now. That's a lot of firepower. So why this matters is I'm going to share this with you. What the hell just happened to it? I just tried to drag here. This is what I want. Okay, so these are my show notes. And it's just easier to put them in front of you rather than try to read them off. But okay, so I want to get to facts first. What has been impact and what traders are probably not picking up? Because I was surprised at the amount of infrastructure that several of our big companies, Microsoft, Amazon, Nvidia, Google, Apple, Meta, all have exposed, pardon me, exposed tonight. AWS, which is Amazon Web Services, one of their biggest growth divisions, Amazon Web Services officially reported degraded service in the UAE tonight. It's on their status page right now. They have data centers in Bahrain, Israel being bombed right now, Saudi Arabia, and this has already happened, not theoretical. Microsoft, medium to high severity. They have a $15 billion commitment to the UAE infrastructure. Major Azure, that's one of their biggest growth. That's their cloud business and AI data center build out. Same geography, getting hit tonight. No confirmed strike yet, but the exposure is enormous. So they don't need to get hit. All the street needs to interpret is that there's a risk out there, and they're going to discount the shares of Microsoft. Alphabet, risk, medium. Google iCloud has Tel Aviv region. Israel is under active attack. We know that. Mandate, I never heard of this until tonight. Owned by Google, has been tracking Iranian hackers targeting the exact ecosystem. NVIDIA, medium risk. Chips flowing into UAE AI data centers. Regional conflict disrupts delivery and logistics. Logistic routes compromised. NVIDIA deployment delays. So that's why I believe that, see oil coming back here, that I don't think yet that unless we get a news event, a ceasefire, something like that, that we're going to have a strong rally back in the next couple of days. We need some sort of finality, a cessation of hostility before we get a big rebound. I had no idea that they had this type of exposure in the Middle East. So that's the risk for the triple Qs going into tomorrow. TZ Burton, welcome. Talon, welcome. Okay. Let's see what yields are doing. Yields down another percent. We're well below a 4 handle now, into a 3 handle on the 10-year yield. First time we've been down here since October of 2025. So a few months ago. Volatility off of its highs, but with a 22 handle. And it looks as though we put in a new weekly. Yeah, we did. A new weekly higher high. Okay. Let's go back. We know this. I'm going to skip it. Oil gapping up, not 10%, now about 8%. The banks. So I'm going to show you a chart of the banks. There's something going on here. This is reposted by Danielle DiMartino Booth. Very, very smart. She used to work at the Fed. Happened to like her quite a bit. And this private equity is really having an impact on the banking sector. If you took a look at the banks last week, they came under quite a bit of pressure. They rebounded off their lows. This is TrendSpider, automated technical analysis. And you can see they're struggling in here. They're putting in lower highs and lower lows now, and they're trying to hold on to this 600 mark. I don't think they're going to be able to do it. And if you, oh, sorry, this, Jesus Christ, I'm looking at the Qs. XLF, I wanted to go over. XLF. I just told you I'm sick. So they're trying to hold the banks in here. They came under pressure last week. They remained under pressure. Even more pressure was felt on the KRE, the regional banks. This is a train wreck. They were down nearly 7% with yields going down. The regional banks were down nearly 7% last week. This is all private equity. It's, you don't know what you don't know, what type of risk is out there right now in the private equity world. Anything that says blue owl on it, is kryptonite to the banks. So not only do we have a war, but we have the continued threat of private equity and the banks leaning on this market. Economic data coming out this week. I can't believe it's 6:20 already. Nothing. Well, we get manufacturing PMI tomorrow. Tuesday, Fed heads. We don't care. This is a jobs week. We're going to get ADP on Wednesday. Thursday, U.S. productivity. There's some inflation data. On Friday, the pimp Mac daddy of them all, non-farm payrolls. They're only expecting 54,000 new jobs. That's crazy. That's nothing. Average hourly earnings. It sounds counterintuitive, but watch this, because if it goes up more than expected, the Federal Reserve considers that to be inflationary, not good. So highly counterintuitive, but that's the way the central banks work. Earnings. It's going to be a retail week all week long. It really begins on Tuesday. Target, Best Buy. We get some tech after the close. CrowdStrike. That should be an interesting report. They had an outage a couple of a few weeks ago. See what they did to earnings. Rigetti. I think this is a quantum computer play. I've looked into this in the past. That should be interesting. Broadcom, pimp Mac daddy name. Some Chinese stocks. Costco, more retail. So retail heavy coming into the new week. Petrobras, some energy plays. So not a huge week, but an interesting week for earnings. Fed Watch Tool, probability of a Fed rate cut. Forget about March, forget about April. However, June is back on the table. We've recovered 50% probability of a cut. And if this war escalates and continues on, you could bet the probability of a cut is going to go higher. I have heard this $2 billion loan fraud in Europe, and the people are afraid of spreading into private equity. I haven't heard that. Pardon me. I have not heard that. It doesn't surprise me. Like Warren Buffett always says, at the end of every bull market, you'll see who's been swimming naked when the tide goes out. Right. So it's not going to be just Europe. It's going to be here. Madoff. You're going to have your Madoffs again. They're out there. So no great shock if that does occur. All right, let's do some chart requests. Again, I got to keep it short tonight because I have limited speaking ability. It's already going. All right, we have Mark looking at AG. Great stock, great chart. It's probably going to scream up higher tomorrow. I wouldn't short it, but I wouldn't buy it. It's too. It's parabolic. It's skyrockets in flight right now. The time to buy it was right down here, or if we got a breakthrough above this topping tail, if you're a momentum trader. Great volume last week. This is probably going to continue up higher. Were I long, I'd probably set up some trailing stops here and let the market take me out. I don't know if this is optionable, but perhaps consider selling some covered calls. But otherwise, I think it does continue up higher. Would I initiate a new position? Probably not. Too much risk, not enough reward. I would rather wait for a retracement. If you want, we could throw up some trend lines here. You could see on Friday, we broke through resistance. So if you had to war game it out and say, you know what, I don't care what Bob says, I'm going to buy the stock anyway. Okay, fine. If that's the case, wait for a retracement right back down to 31.88 because you're probably going to get a retest of that at some point in time in the next couple of days. I would not buy it on a gap up because you're going to retrace back down. So I would rather wait for the retrace. Nouget. We have a position here. Let's go to the weekly chart first. I can tell you this is probably going to gap up. Let's go to the daily chart. Where do I think that it's going? I think that we're going to probably head up to around 340 to 350 per share on Nugget. We were buying this in the 20s, teens. So we broke out last Friday. We held a breakout above this resistance. These are the automated trend lines on TrendSpider. Discount code below. Take advantage of it. 35% off. So Nugget, bullish, VST. I like this. So this is a weekly chart. We broke out the week before last. Last week we did a check back and a retest, and we got some follow through. I'm a buyer here. I would buy some stock here on any weakness. Even if you don't get weakness, I would nibble and I'd add more on a breakout. Price target probably around 208. I think that's a fair expectation. You do have a little bit of resistance above, immediately above, right here at let's call it 178 per share. But I think we're going to break through it at some point in time and move up higher. So bullish on VST. Soundhound. I'm not a buyer here. I think that the AI pain trade, I don't think it's over. I think that it's really just beginning. And Soundhound's a very, very good company. I did analysis on this. I think going back to 2024 when it was, way back here. Yeah, right in this range here. I got long, I got bullish on it, and I owned it. We had a good rally up. I didn't get out all the way up here. We got out, I don't know, around here, I guess, around 20-ish. So we have a big double top. We have broken key support levels. The path of least resistance is down, despite the fact that we've had two back-to-back up weeks. It's down. So it's in a bear market. Bearish reversal bar on Friday. This is a daily chart, and they did it on volume. I think this comes in. I'm not a buyer here. I wouldn't short it. I don't think there's enough meat on the bone to go shorting it. Too much risk, not enough reward. WRN. Bullish. Very, very bullish. Western Copper and Gold Corporation. We likey, as Carrie Bradshaw would say on, what was that show? I forget the name of it. But I always remember that one episode, We Likey. Anyway, so bullish reversal bar after pulling back, retesting $3.08 per share, follow through to the upside, bullish. This is going up. Let's go to a daily view. No immediate overhead supply until you get up here to about $3.93 per share. I think this goes up. Copper demand, especially now we have a war on, copper demand is going to surge. So, because once you destroy everything, you need to rebuild it. What do you need? Copper. The Rothschilds have it all figured out. JBLU airline. I tend to avoid these, but let's not let my biases get involved here. Um, let's go monthly view. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So sometimes you got to go further out to figure out where stock may be going. Not a great month last month. It could have been great had we closed above this resistance level, but I think that this resistance level here in green, which we were trading above in February, faded. Now this is going to be the upper band of resistance. So basically, what I would do here is get my crayon out and create my own uptrend channel. We are stuck in a range. I'd be a buyer of the stock on a close above $5.84. Or if they continue to consolidate this sideways, once we get into the apex of this wedge formation, I'd be a buyer with a stop loss just in case we break to the downside, which I don't think that we will. The problem with the airlines as well, keep in mind, you have oil spiking up overnight, and this is going to be a problem for the mining stocks as well, whether it be gold, silver, copper. The biggest input cost for the mining stocks, and I don't know about the airlines, but certainly is a major input cost, is crude oil, fuel. So understand that these names have something that has been not an issue for quite a while now, which is oil. Look at this chart of oil, monthly chart. Here, let's get all these lines off. I mean, there's been nothing going on here in oil. It's flatlined. Therefore, the path of least resistance, I think effective tomorrow, it starts going up. That's why we began buying it the week before last and a leveraged product at that. But yeah, I think oil is going up, not straight up. Let's check back in with the futures. And I'm going to log off. I've already overstayed my time here. NASDAQ 100, they're trying to put in, let's go to, we're on a 15-minute chart. They're trying to put in a higher low here. Maybe they do it. We are down now 1.03%. Volatility still off of session highs with bond yields coming off their lows. Look at this. This is a 4-hour chart. Now, granted, we're only into 33 minutes of that 4-hour chart. I don't think we're giving this up. And if this closes positive, I think you're going to see a surge in yields tomorrow. This is a very powerful candlestick here. It doesn't look like it, but it is. If it closes green, we're probably going to break out on yields tomorrow out of a 4-hour or daily downtrend channel. Let's check in with oil. Oil up 8.59%, off of highs, at resistance, at current. Let's leave it off with gold. Gold holding gains here, up 2.51%. And that's it, folks. Folks, everybody have an awesome remainder of your evening. Thank you for being here. Hey, Jody. You're welcome, George. My pleasure, Tim. My pleasure. We did a lot of work on just a quick update on the website. I did a tremendous amount of work on sending what they call polishing notes on the website, both the back end and the front end. Those are all off to the developers. All that needs to get done now is to hook up the email system and whatnot and do some testing, and we'll be launching ideally this time next week. That may be a little bit pie in the sky, but fingers crossed. I'm hoping it's guaranteed it'll be up in March. So we're very, very close. And I'll be honest with you, I used AI, both Claude and ChatGPT to really do a lot of the mapping and the uh, developer work. I'm handing off notes of my own what I want to the developers and bypassing a lot of needless interaction, but it is still taking a long time. It's been 6 months now, but I'm looking forward to it. We're gonna be launching really, really soon, and yes, TrendSpider will be included in all membership levels. That's it, folks. Everybody have a great night and a profitable trading week. Talk to you soon. Be well.